Yo, welcome to my channel. If you're into fun, creative, and sometimes a little bit crazy content, then this is definitely your kind of place. I'm here to entertain, share good vibes, and bring you something different every time. Hit that subscribe button and come be part of the fun. The security camera notification popped up on my phone at 2:47 inches the afternoon. I was standing on a job site in downtown Savannah, reviewing blueprints with my project manager, when I saw the motion alert from the master bedroom. My wife Elena knew I wouldn't be home until 6. She knew that because I told her every single morning. I opened the app expecting to see the dog on the bed again. Instead, I saw my wife walking into our bedroom with a man I recognized. His name was Craig Weston. He was her biggest client, a developer who'd been buying waterfront properties along the coast for the past 2 years. Elena had closed 3 deals with him. She told me he was difficult. She told me he demanded a lot of her time. She told me the late dinners were just part of the business. I watched them on my phone screen. My project manager was still talking about the foundation pour, but I couldn't hear a word. My hands were shaking, not from sadness, from something darker. Something that started in my chest and spread to my fingertips like electricity. I watched Craig put his hands on my wife in my bedroom, in the room where I slept every night, where I read bedtime stories to my kids when they were little, where Elena and I had talked about growing old together just last Christmas. I didn't drive home. I didn't smash my phone. I stood there on that job site and I hit record on the screen capture. I saved every second of it. Then I put my phone in my pocket, told Derek I had a family emergency, and walked to my truck. I sat in the parking lot of a gas station for 40 minutes. I replayed the footage twice to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. I wasn't. The timestamps were clear. The faces were clear. Everything was clear except the reason why. I called my daughter first. Sophie was 19, finishing her sophomore year at UGA. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey Dad, what's up?" I could hear music in the background. She was probably studying. Sophie always studied with music on. "Soph, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen before you react. Can you do that for me?" The music went quiet. "Dad, you're scaring me. What's wrong?" "Your mother is having an affair. I caught her today on the home security cameras. I have the footage. I'm telling you this now because I don't want anyone controlling how this story gets told. You deserve the truth from me before anyone else gives you a version of it." The silence lasted so long I thought the call dropped. Then I heard her breathing change. She was crying. "Dad, are you serious? Who? How long?" "His name is Craig. He's a client of hers. I don't know how long. I just found out 20 minutes ago. I'm sitting in a gas station parking lot trying to figure out what to do next." "Oh my God. Dad. Oh my God. Are you okay?" "No, sweetheart. I'm not okay. But I will be. I need you to not call your mother right now. Can you promise me that? I need to handle this my way." "I promise. Dad, I'm so sorry. I love you." "I love you too, Soph." Then I called my son. Dylan was 16, a junior in high school. He was probably at baseball practice. The phone rang 5 times before he picked up. "Yeah, Dad. I'm at practice. What's up?" "Dylan, I need 5 minutes. It's important." He must have heard something in my voice because the background noise faded. He'd walked away from the field. "What's going on?" I told him the same thing I told Sophie. Direct. Honest. No sugarcoating. Dylan didn't cry. He went quiet. Then he said something that surprised me. I knew something was wrong. She's been acting weird for months. Coming home late. Being all secretive with her phone. I asked her about it once and she snapped at me. That hit me harder than the camera footage. My 16-year-old son had noticed before I did. "Dad, what are you going to do?" "I'm going to handle it. I need you to go back to practice and act normal. Don't tell your mother we talked. When you get home tonight, just be yourself. I'll take care of everything." "Are you coming home tonight?" "No. Not tonight. Maybe not for a while. But I'll be in touch every single day, I promise you that." After I hung up with Dylan, I drove to a hotel downtown, the Marriott on River Street. I checked in for a week. I sat on the bed and stared at the wall for an hour. Then I started making calls. My buddy Rich was a divorce attorney. We'd been friends since college. He'd handled plenty of these cases, but I never imagined he'd be handling mine. I called him at his office and told him everything. "Marcus, listen to me carefully. Do not go home. Do not confront her. Do not send her that footage. You come to my office first thing tomorrow morning and we set this up properly. Georgia is a no-fault state, but that footage will matter in negotiations, you understand?" "I understand. Have you told anyone else?" "My kids. Both of them." "Good. That was smart. Don't let her write the story." I hung up and ordered room service. A steak I couldn't eat and a bourbon I drank too fast. I poured another one and sat by the window watching the Savannah River slide past in the dark. 22 years. We'd been married 22 years. I built a firm from nothing. Martial architecture. Started with me and a drafting table in a rented office above a sandwich shop. Now I had 14 employees, projects across 3 states, and a reputation I'd spent 2 decades earning. I gave her everything she ever wanted. The house on Tybee Island, the Lexus, the vacations to Europe, the freedom to build her own career in real estate when the kids were old enough. I encouraged her. I supported her. I told her I was proud of her every time she closed a deal. And she brought Craig Weston into my bed. I didn't sleep that night. I kept checking the camera app. Elena came home at 5:30. She made dinner. She called me at 6:15. "Hey babe, are you on your way?" I let it go to voicemail. She texted me. "Running late?" I didn't respond. She called again at 7. Then at 7:30. By 8 o'clock she'd called 4 times and sent 6 texts. The last one said, "Marcus, I'm getting worried, please call me." I finally texted back. "Working late on the Broughton Street project. Don't wait up. Staying at the office." She sent a heart emoji. A heart emoji. 3 hours after another man was in our bed. The next morning I was at Rich's office at 8 a.m. sharp. He had coffee waiting and a legal pad already half full of notes. He walked me through everything. Asset division, the house, my firm, custody considerations for Dylan since he was still a minor. Sophie was an adult, so she wasn't a factor legally, but emotionally she was everything. "The footage," Rich said, leaning forward. "Have you looked at it carefully?" I showed him the screen recording. 4 minutes and 12 seconds of my marriage ending in high definition. Rich watched it with the same expression he used in court. Neutral. Professional. But I saw his jaw tighten. "That's your bedroom? Your house? He knows you're not home?" She told him I wouldn't be back until 6. I heard her say it when they walked in. Rich nodded slowly. "Here's what we're going to do. I'm drafting the papers today. We'll file by end of week. I want you to change the locks on the house. Georgia law allows it since your name is on the deed and there's documented infidelity. Move her personal belongings to the garage. Be methodical. Don't damage anything. Document everything you move and where you put it." "What about Craig?" "What about him? He's her client. Her firm probably has ethics policies about personal relationships with clients, especially a client that size." Rich smiled for the first time. "That's a very good observation, Marcus. Let me make some calls." I spent that afternoon at the house while Elena was showing properties. I changed every lock. Front door, back door, garage entry. I moved her clothes, her shoes, her jewelry, her personal files, her toiletries, everything of hers, into neatly labeled boxes in the garage. I was careful. I folded everything properly. I didn't throw anything. I didn't destroy a single item. I just removed her from the house the way you'd remove a tenant who violated their lease. Then I went to Dylan's room and knocked. He was sitting on his bed with his headphones around his neck. He looked at the boxes stacked in the hallway. "You're really doing this." "I'm really doing this. Do you want to stay here with me or go to your mom's when she finds somewhere?" "I'm staying with you, Dad. This is my home." I hugged him. He was almost as tall as me now. "When did that happen?" Elena came home at 5:45. I was sitting on the porch with a glass of sweet tea. Calm. Collected. The way my father taught me. You don't win anything by losing your temper, Marcus. You win by being the most prepared person in the room. She walked up the steps with her work bag and a smile. "Hey, you're home early. I tried calling you last night. Were you really at the..." She stopped when she saw my face. "Marcus? What's wrong?" "Your things are in the garage. The locks have been changed. Rich Patterson will be contacting your attorney by tomorrow. We're done." "What? Marcus, what are you talking about? What do you mean my things are in the garage?" I held up my phone and showed her one screenshot from the footage. Just one. Her face drained of color so fast I thought she might pass out. She grabbed the porch railing and stared at the image. Then she looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. "Pure terror." "Marcus, I can explain. It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think, Elena. I watched the whole thing on the security cameras. I have the footage. I've already spoken to a lawyer, and I told Sophie and Dylan." "You told the kids?" Her voice cracked. "Marcus, how could you tell the kids? They don't need to know this. This is between us." "No. It stopped being between us the second you brought him into our bedroom. The kids deserve to know why their family is breaking apart. I won't let them spend one single day thinking I did something wrong. Not one day." She started crying. Hard. The kind of crying that comes from the gut. "Marcus, please. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. He doesn't mean anything to me. You're the only one I love." There it was. It didn't mean anything. The most insulting sentence in the English language. You threw away 22 years of marriage for something that didn't mean anything? You destroyed our family for nothing? How is that supposed to make me feel better? She reached for me and I stepped back. Don't touch me, Elena. Don't you ever touch me again. Marcus, please. It was only once. I swear to God, it was only one time. I showed her the camera log, 3 motion alerts over the past month, all on days I was scheduled to be at job sites until evening, all showing the same car in our driveway. Craig Weston's black Range Rover. You want to try that again? I said. You want to tell me one more time it was only once? She stopped talking. She just stood there on the porch of the house I designed and built with my own hands, crying and shaking and staring at me like I was a stranger. In that moment, I realized I was looking at a stranger too. The woman I married would never have done this. This was someone else entirely. I need you to leave, Elena. Your boxes are in the garage. Take what you need for tonight and find somewhere to stay. Marcus, this is my home too. You can't just throw me out. Actually, I can. My name is on the deed. My attorney says the changed locks are legal given the circumstances. If you want to contest it, have your lawyer call Rich. She stood there for another minute. Then she walked to the garage, loaded 2 boxes into her car, and drove away. I watched her taillights disappear down the oak-lined street and I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. The numbness was worse than the pain. Dylan came out and sat next to me. You okay, Dad? I will be, buddy. I will be. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, phone calls, and long nights staring at the ceiling. Elena called me constantly. I answered twice. Both times she begged me to reconsider. Both times she said the same things. It was a mistake. He meant nothing. She loved only me. Could we try counseling? Could we see a therapist? Could I find it in my heart to forgive her? I asked her the same question every time. Why? She never had an answer. I don't know, Marcus. I don't know why. It just happened. We were celebrating a big deal closing. We had champagne. One thing led to another. 3 times, Elena. It happened 3 times. Champagne doesn't last a month. I know. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't undo it. Sorry doesn't make me unsee what I saw. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust that took 22 years to build and 4 minutes to destroy. My firm kept me sane. Work was the only thing that made sense anymore. I threw myself into the Broughton Street renovation project. A historic building, 4 stories, mixed-use retail and residential. The kind of project I loved because it required respect for what came before while creating something new. The metaphor wasn't lost on me. Derek, my project manager, handled things when I couldn't focus. He never asked what was going on, but he knew. Everyone in Savannah knew within a week. Small city, big gossip. I hated that my private pain was public entertainment, but I couldn't control it. What I could control was the outcome. Rich filed the divorce papers on a Tuesday. Elena was served at her office. She called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. She texted me a wall of text so long I had to scroll 3 times to read it. The summary was the same. Please don't do this. I love you. Give me another chance. I texted back one word. No. Sophie came home the following weekend. She hugged me for a long time at the front door and then looked around the house. It's so quiet without her stuff everywhere. I know. Dad, she called me. She wants me to talk you out of this. What did you tell her? I told her I saw the footage. I told her I was on your side. She started crying and said I didn't understand. That adult relationships are complicated. They're not that complicated, Soph. You either keep your promises or you don't. Sophie stayed for 4 days. She cooked dinner. She made Dylan laugh. She sat with me on the porch in the evenings while I drank my bourbon and watched the marsh grass sway in the river breeze. She didn't try to fix anything. She just sat there. Sometimes that's all you need. 3 weeks after I filed, Rich called me with news. Craig Weston's wife found out. Apparently she'd been suspicious for months and hired a private investigator. The PI's report included Elena and 2 other women. My wife wasn't even special to him. She was a rotation. Marcus, it gets better, Rich said. Weston Properties has a morality clause in their partnership agreement. Craig's partners are forcing him out. And Elena's brokerage has an ethics policy about agent-client relationships. They've opened an internal investigation. I didn't feel satisfaction. I thought I would, but I didn't. I just felt tired. A week later, Elena lost her position at the firm, suspended pending investigation, which in real estate means finished. No other brokerage in Savannah would touch her with Craig Weston's scandal attached to her name. She called me from Becky's apartment, where she'd been staying. Becky was her college roommate, the only friend who hadn't turned her back. Marcus, I've lost everything. My job, my home, my family. The kids won't return my calls. Are you happy now? Elena, I didn't do any of this to you. You did it to yourself. Every single consequence you're facing right now started with a choice you made. Not me. You. I didn't think it would go this far. That's the problem, Elena. You didn't think at all." She hung up. I poured myself a drink and sat down at my drafting table. I was working on a new project. A beach house for a client on Hilton Head. Clean lines, big windows, open floor plan. The kind of house that lets light in from every direction. No dark corners, no hidden rooms. Everything visible. Everything honest. The divorce was finalized 4 months after I filed. Elena got her half of the liquid assets and the Lexus. I kept the house, my firm, and both kids chose to be with me. Dylan finished his junior year strong. Made varsity baseball. Hit 340 inches the spring season. Sophie graduated with honors and got accepted into a master's program at Emory. I was at every single game and every ceremony. I made sure of that. I met someone 6 months later. Her name was Claire. She was a structural engineer from Charleston who came to Savannah for a conference. We met at a panel discussion about sustainable building materials. She asked a question about reclaimed wood sourcing that was so specific and so smart that I turned around in my seat to see who was talking. Brown hair pulled back in a messy bun, reading glasses pushed up on her forehead, a pen behind her ear. She caught me looking and raised an eyebrow. After the panel, I introduced myself. She shook my hand with a firm grip and said, "I know who you are. I've studied your work on the Forsyth Park restoration. The cantilever solution was brilliant." I laughed for the first time in months. It wasn't a laugh born from humor. It was relief. The sound of someone seeing me for what I built, rather than what fell apart. We had coffee that afternoon, dinner that evening. She told me about her divorce 3 years earlier. No infidelity, just two people who grew apart. She told me about her daughter, 6 years old, who loved swimming and hated vegetables. She told me she wasn't looking for anything serious. "Neither am I," I said, "but I wouldn't mind having someone to talk about cantilevers with." She laughed and stole a fry off my plate. It was slow. It was careful. I told Claire everything about Elena. She didn't judge me or pity me. She just listened and then said, "You did the right thing telling your kids first. Most men don't. They try to protect everyone and end up protecting the person who least deserves it." That was the moment I knew Claire was different. A year later, Claire moved to Savannah. She joined a local engineering firm and enrolled her daughter Lily in the same school district as Dylan. We didn't rush anything. We dated properly. Dinners, walks along the river, Saturday mornings at the farmer's market. She met Sophie and Dylan over a barbecue at the house. Sophie pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered, "Dad, she's amazing. Don't mess this up." Dylan was quieter about it. He watched Claire with cautious eyes for weeks. Then one evening she sat down next to him while he was struggling with his physics homework. She explained force vectors using baseball trajectories, and I watched his face light up the way it used to when I taught him to ride a bike. After she left, he looked at me and nodded once. "She's cool, Dad." That was enough. Elena called me on a Sunday evening, almost 2 years after the divorce. I was on the porch. Claire was inside reading to Lily. Dylan was at a friend's house. The marsh was golden in the late afternoon light. "Marcus, I heard you're seeing someone." "I am." "Is it serious?" "Yes." She paused. "Is she good to the kids?" "She's wonderful to them." Another pause, longer this time. I could hear her breathing. "I'm happy for you, Marcus. I mean that. I know I don't have the right to say anything, but I want you to know I understand now. I understand what I destroyed. It took me a long time, but I get it." I didn't know what to say to that, so I said the only honest thing I could think of. "Thank you, Elena. I hope you find what you're looking for." I already had it. I just didn't know how to hold on to it. We hung up and I sat there for a while. Claire came out with 2 glasses of wine and settled into the chair beside me. "Who was that?" "Elena. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I think I actually am." She reached over and took my hand. We sat there watching the sun drop behind the trees, the river turning pink and gold and then slowly dark. Lily came running out in her pajamas and climbed into Claire's lap. "Can we see the fireflies?" They were just starting to blink in the tall grass near the water. "Let's go see the fireflies," I said. The 3 of us walked down to the edge of the marsh. Lily chased the tiny lights with her hands cupped, squealing every time one slipped through her fingers. Claire stood beside me and leaned her head against my shoulder. I could smell her shampoo. Something with lavender. I thought about the man I was 2 years ago, sitting in a gas station parking lot, watching his world collapse on a 4-inch screen, shaking with a rage so hot it could have burned everything down. I thought about the choice I made in that moment. Not to punch anyone, not to scream, not to hide. I chose to tell the truth, to tell my kids the truth, to let the consequences fall where they belonged, and then to rebuild. The fireflies kept blinking in the dark. Lily kept chasing them. Claire kept her head on my shoulder, and I stood there thinking that sometimes the worst thing that ever happens to you is also the thing that saves your life. Not because it was good, but because it forced you to find out what you're actually made of. I never would have found Claire if Elena hadn't broken me. I never would have learned that I was strong enough to walk through fire and come out the other side still standing, still breathing, still capable of love. But I'll tell you this. If I could go back and have my 22 years of marriage be real, be honest, be what I thought it was, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I'd trade the lesson for the lie. Because nobody should have to learn this way. Nobody should have to watch the person they love most in this world choose someone else in the one place that was supposed to be sacred. Our bed, our home, our life. She said it didn't mean anything. 3 times she said that to me. And every time, I heard the same thing. That I didn't mean anything. That our family didn't mean anything. That 22 years of trust and love and sacrifice didn't mean anything. But she was wrong. It meant everything. It meant everything to me. And it means everything now. Sitting here with Claire and Lily and the Fireflies, knowing that I chose truth over comfort, honesty over convenience, and self-respect over reconciliation. If you're going through this right now, wherever you are, I want you to hear me. Tell the truth. Tell your kids. Tell your family. Don't let the person who broke you write the story of why you left. You write it, you own it, and then you rebuild. Because on the other side of the worst night of your life, there might be fireflies. There might be someone leaning their head on your shoulder. There might be a little girl chasing light in the dark. And that, my friends, is worth every single broken piece it took to get here.